1. Several years ago, I worked at a gas station with a car wash. This car wash uses a chain that pulls every vehicle through at the same speed, about 25 feet apart. The car wash was the cause of about 80% of all customer grievances. This one was a bit different. One weekday afternoon, I was stocking shelves when a young woman and an old man come in together. They spot me and say we need to have a conversation, so I move back behind the counter. "Okay, so what can I do for you?" I ask with a smile. The woman is about to speak when the old man cuts her off.
"Your car wash damaged my car. Both of ours."
Not the first time I've heard this. "Huh, how so?" I ask. The woman chimes in. "We were both in the car wash, I was ahead of him, and the car wash pulled his car into the back of mine. Hard." Immediate red flag. That's impossible. The chain can't pull one vehicle faster or slower than another. So I tell them exactly that. The woman says, Are
you calling me a liar?"
the man asks, interrupting the woman. The woman is visibly annoyed. "What I'm saying," I point out to the man, "is that the car wash couldn't have done this to you. Either you," I make eye contact with the woman, "hit the brakes," I look back at the man, "or you hit the gas." "I didn't touch the brakes," the woman said, sounding as though she'd started second-guessing herself.
"I'm not stupid,"
the man shot back.
"I never touched the gas pedal."
Now, not to be ageist, but old people are usually the ones who have issues with using the car wash, so he was my prime suspect. Well, thankfully the car wash is lined with cameras, so I'll just go rewind the footage and see what happened, I say matter-of-factly.
Well, that's not necessary. We'll just have the insurance pay for the damages,"
the man says agreeably. Well, they're gonna want to review the footage anyway, so I might as well do that now.
No, let's not waste any more of our time,"
the man says nervously. I exaggeratedly raise an eyebrow at him, then glance over at her. She clues in that I'm laying the pressure on him, and also looks at him suspiciously. Now it's time to twist the knife. "Oh, but surely the camera footage will prove your innocence, sir." Silence. Yep, it's him. So I review the footage, and sure enough, while he was being pulled by the chain at first, he hit the gas and rear-ended her. I came back behind the counter and looked at the woman. "Well, turns out he hit the gas and rear-ended you." Now, even though it happened in the car wash, it wasn't caused by the car wash, so this matter will have to be resolved between the two of you. If you would like the camera footage to provide to insurance, I'd be happy to give it to you. I look over at the old man with a smirk. He clearly died a little on the inside knowing he's screwed. She thanks me and looks over at him as if to say, "Pay up, sucker." 2. I have been asked questions from random patrons in completely random types of retail stores, restaurants, corporate offices that aren't mine, car dealerships, etc. You name it, I've probably been asked if I work there. Or asked a question by a patron, assuming I work there without even thinking about it. Recently, I was in a Target store in my city just picking up some snacks for the road trip I was going on the next day. I am wearing a blue t-shirt, joggers, and black sneakers. Thankfully, this was not a rude patron. I was approached and asked, "Excuse me, do you work here?" I ask because of the blue shirt you're wearing in Target. Completely ignoring the fact that I had a basket full of road-tripping snacks, mind you, I take about 10 seconds to calmly respond with, "No, I don't work here." 10 seconds to give them the chance to think about what they just said, and think about, does this make sense? I just walk away with my items awkwardly and no longer acknowledging this person and their presence. Also recently, I was walking around a department store looking through some shorts to try on. Here in this store, I am wearing a golf shirt, shorts, and a pair of loafers. While browsing and holding a pair I ended up trying on and buying, I hear a random, "Could you help check out so I can leave?" while being tapped on my shoulder. I take a very long stare at this man, just thinking to myself, what the hell about anything I'm wearing gives you any indication that I work here? Before simply stating that I do not work there. The immediate response from this clearly confused man is,
well, what am I supposed to do if you don't work here and can't help me?
And I just immediately walked away, mildly annoyed at the sheer confusion of this clueless soul. At a car dealership, I had an appointment to have my car serviced for an oil change, as well as a couple of maintenance-related items. I'm sitting in the waiting room while waiting on the mechanics to finish working on my car. I'm working on my work laptop while wearing a collared short-sleeved shirt that had the name of my company on it, slacks and a pair of loafers. Just completely minding my own business, getting some work done. When out of nowhere, I hear what sounds like a Karen yelling, "Get me your manager!" with several footsteps approaching me and what I assume to be an employee trying to calm this person down. I try to ignore it until I feel breathing directly in my face. And this woman is standing directly over me in the chair, furious over something of which I'm not sure. I try to ignore this woman until she yells at me, "Are you just going to sit there? Your employee is being extremely rude and I deserve a discount. Give it to me, now!" I just simply respond with, "Do I know you? I don't work here. Please leave me alone." By this point, enough employees at the dealership had come over to separate this woman from the other employee there and I. I roll my eyes at her as she is escorted out of the building, and she continued to point at me and yell something. I wasn't able to make it out, as it was unintelligible. This is only a few of these countless occasions. I honestly mind it a lot less if the person asking happens to be polite and friendly. However, it's still fairly annoying in my view, since it just seems to be that nobody is walking through the logic of if this random somebody works here based on their attire. None of these made sense in my view, and understand that it's only a minor inconvenience to me, but I simply find these unsolicited asks to be irritating. Does anybody else here experience this on a regular basis the way I do? I'm genuinely curious. 3. I was shopping at Target. Mind you, I was wearing a blue shirt and sweatpants. Nothing close to the red and khaki that we all know. It was slow with very few people. A total Karen comes around the corner with a very rude and loud, "Excuse me." I ignore her, since there is no reason why I would need to acknowledge her. She comes closer to me while shoving my cart down the aisle and says, "I need you to grab that box for me now." I just laugh at her and say, "Nope." I'm short, 4'11", but would try to help a stranger reach the highest shelves item if they ask kindly. But this lady was just too rude to engage. Anyways, she says, "You're just standing there going back and forth in the aisles pretending like you're busy." I told her, and at this point I'm thoroughly amused by her absurd and rude demeanor. Duh, I gotta do all my shopping while I'm here. I'm not going to go home without the stuff I need. And of course she proceeds to say, "Listen, young lady, you're not going to get away with speaking to me like that." The young lady was the most amusing because it was absolutely an on-brand condescending thing to say. So I told her, "If you can find my manager, you should tell them that. I bet she won't have a problem with me shopping right now." So she storms off to find my manager. She found a manager, and I walk near them. She points at me and tells the person, "That's her. She was disrespectful and refused to help me so she can shop." I had to give it all I had not to bust out laughing. The manager said, "Ma'am, she's a customer here as well. She does not work here." So instead of admitting to being a jackass, she asked, "Well, then why did you tell me to go get your manager?" I simply and calmly said, "The offer still stands. Go out and find my manager and tell them everything. Megan," manager's name tag, "isn't my manager." I was proud of myself for this one. I get passive-aggressive and sometimes rude when people are like this, and I end up regretting it later and wishing that I had more tact. My calmness in this situation pissed her off the most, I believe. It got me thinking a few days afterwards as well. I live in a touristy destination, and while most people are delightful, there is a small population of out-of-touch people who think that everyone is there to serve them. But I suppose that is the case everywhere. But these people were particularly on my mind at this moment. I was shopping at the local grocery outlet for some batteries. Quick trip. I'm browsing batteries and looking at my options, and this one lady passed 3 employees to bark an order at me over not being able to find a ladle. Now, a grocery outlet is one of those stores that may or may not have odds and ends, like ladles. And that's just the nature of it, but I digress. I think the barking triggered me, so I said, probably a little too rudely, "What makes you think I work here?" She tried to pretend like she didn't just bark something at me and started to walk away. So I said, "No, I want to know what about me made you think that shopping is the last possible reason I could be here right now." She walked away sheepishly. I get a phone call from my partner a few minutes later while I was waiting in checkout and tell him what had just happened, as she and her family are in line behind me. While talking on the phone, I had said, "These people have the audacity to bark at people, and they literally think that any warm body is there to serve them. We need to promote employees to be rude back because it's not like these people would be nice anyways, since they just jump into barking orders without a please or thank you or hello." And then I said goodbye and hung up to move on to the cashier. I look at the family and tell the mom, "If you still can't find a ladle, they're right over there." I point to the aisle. It's one of the only 2 grocery stores in the county, so I have spent many days shopping the whole store, and am familiarized with its setup. She just shrugs it off, and her husband sheepishly laughed it off and said, "Oh, it's okay, it's not that important, no worries." I said, "Really? It almost seemed like life or death with the way y'all asked." Again, maybe I was out of line, but there's no reason why anyone should approach anybody, especially employees, like that. A third time, I was shopping at Ulta, and noticed a lady following me down each aisle. She finally approached me and said, "Excuse me, but I need help finding some random item." I told her, "I don't work here, but I'm happy to help you find it together." And she said, "Sure, maybe until I run into someone that works here." And we proceeded to browse a couple of aisles and had a lovely brief discussion about our favorite skincare items. So, it's not being asked for help, or thinking that I work there, but how it is asked. Some people think they can talk down to anybody, and they use someone's employment as leverage to get away with speaking to people like that. I support, as someone in the service industry as well, a movement to not necessarily be rude to customers, but to mirror their behavior, take away their power. I'm not even bothered if someone is short with me, or not even cordial, but don't be straight up rude. 4. Warning. Serious rant. I'm so beyond sick of the corporate retail industry. It is all such a waste of time. For all you shoppers out there, I do hope you enjoy your experience and products, because getting to the finish line on anything is impossible. You have leadership that is so important no decision can be made without them, but yet they can never be found, and they also treat you as if you're bothering them from their busy day of telling others how busy they are. We spend all this time, effort, money in developing materials and new styles, etc., only to have sourcing or buying team decide it needs to be done cheaper somewhere else, and that all development goes in the trash. Or we have to have meeting after meeting about why it's not exactly the same as what we developed. Why are we even trying to develop unique stuff when it just gets dumbed down for cost? We put these suppliers and vendors through hell and back only to tell them, never mind, which is such terrible business. Fuck fashion innovation. Just do what's cheapest, right? Then they want to complain that sales and product reviews aren't good. The way women, and men too, honestly, talk to each other in this industry is just out of control. One power trip after another, talking to each other as if we're all uneducated, becoming petty to the point of calling people out in front of their colleagues, and playing the blame game is not entertaining. It's like Mean Girls in real life, but worse because it's real life and just simply not funny. Designing clothes should be fun. Figuring out how to bring all pieces together to create something should be fun and interesting. And there's corporate America just sucking the fun out of everything in exchange for meeting after meeting, discussing things that ultimately never happen or change, and worst of all, being too afraid of change and risk to even offer new products. Ever walk into your favorite store and think, this looks the same as last year? It is exactly the same as last year because buyers and merchandisers are too afraid to take risks, so they go off last year's sales and basically stick the product in a different fabric or color, etc. Almost 2 decades in this industry, and I'm so burnt out, disappointed, and done. Bless you all who work in the stores as well, because I know corporate can't get your stuff right either. 5. I will be giving a little bit of context before I get right into speaking of her actions, because without context it sounds incorrect. I work in a Safeway in the floral department, and we are straight across the store from our locker room. Earlier this year, they imposed a rule which stated we cannot have any drinks or personal items behind our counter. That means no water, no jackets, no loose name tags, no hand lotion, which we all use often because we constantly have our hands in bleach water. Not even our manager followed that, because she always had drinks back there. We all think it's ridiculous that we have to walk across the store if we want a drink of water. It is also nearing Mother's Day, so we are very low on extra time, especially spending minutes a day walking across the store to drink some water. Yesterday, we had gotten in a load that was 260 cases to prepare for the day, and I decided to buy 4 medium Starbucks drinks for everyone. Everyone was already peeved with the stress of this many boxes, so I decided to surprise everyone with their favorite drinks. We placed our drinks down after I got them and immediately went to work without drinking any of them yet. Now, we head outside to begin unloading outdoor plants when my manager comes outside and grabs both me and my coworker, saying, "You guys need to come inside." We go inside and are met with the store director behind our department yelling at us over having drinks, as she's pouring all the full drinks out into the sink. Even my manager pitches in and says, "Those are like $7 a cup." My coworker says to her, "I see you, wasp, literally bought all those." She assumed we all bought the cups ourselves, and everyone was mad that she threw away all of our drinks. I didn't stay for the rest of the day because I got sick, but my manager and a coworker paid me back for the drinks she wasted. Were we in the wrong? Every department constantly ignores that rule. Everyone thinks it's stupid. We especially think it's stupid because she could have told us to put them in the locker room instead of pouring 4 obviously full drinks out into the sink. I have never bought drinks for everyone before, so that was a chunk of money I could have used for my apartment. I mostly just wanted to share my frustrations, but I want to hear what you have to think about this occurrence. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Adventures in Fast Food and Retail, episode 170. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. Before you go, please hit the like button if you'd be so kind. Thank you very much. Okay, let me see. No shoutouts, I believe, today, so we'll move right along to Hellfreezer's question of the day. And today's question is, if you were going to own a pillow or a cushion or some such that was not pillow-shaped, what would it be? If you look on places like Amazon, eBay, wherever else, you'll find one shaped like, like eggs, and I've seen one shaped like pork chops and donuts and slices of bread and things. I'm sure there's even others, weirder ones still. I've seen one shaped like mushrooms, of course you can get those. But if you could have one of your own, what would it be? I think I would like an Enterprise D-shaped pillow. That's because you could use the saucer section for your head, right? But then the cells would also be good for neck support. But you may have other answers, and that's okay. They may not be as awesome as my suggestion, but let me know what you think in a comment below. And with that, I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.